this elegant man in front of me, he's not the president of the United States. No, you're mistaken if you think like that. Just he looks very elegant, handsome, and there is a flag behind him. But he is the president. He is the president of High Point University. He entered USA without big money. Somebody says it's $50. I am not sure. Maybe it was 75. But he conquered America by education, by achieving high goals, by assisting the biggest companies in the world. Hello, Dr. Qubein.
How are you, Olga? Nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you. It's absolutely a pleasure. Since you achieved so many things, you got awards, the biggest awards in United States of America. When you entered many years ago with $50, which country you came from?
I am half Lebanese, half Jordanian.
تكلم لغة العربية ولا نسيت؟
Of course, كلام عربي.
لازم كل الناس لازم ليش لا لازم أحسن. So it is big honor and pleasure even more because it's not that easy for Lebanese people to conquer America. I respect it even more because I think you are a connection, a bridge between Middle East, Arabic world and USA. Tell me please, as I understood that your family was quite poor and you lost your dad at the age of 6. Do you still remember something of him or it's like completely forgotten?
No, Olga, my father died when I was 6 years of age and he was sick for the period of time before he died. So I really don't recall anything. I never, he's never played ball with me or read me a book or sang me a song or just talked with me man to man. But my mother is the one who brought us up. There were 5 of us, 3 boys, 2 girls. And my mother had to learn a new profession, become a seamstress, make clothes for people. And she worked day and night to feed us and clothe us and ultimately to make sure that we went to college and became educated so we can pursue our own lives.
That is a great story. And I would say that your mother is a great person to raise a guy like you who is sure of himself and who can help other people. What do you think? Normally, people who coming from the poor family, they reaches the much higher goals and they become more famous and they reach, they earn more money. Do you think there is coincidence or there is no coincidence in that?
Yes, no. I think there is a connection here because if a person has a sense of initiative, if a person desires to achieve something, to do something in their life, then the fact that you come out of adversity, not having the resources, actually equips you and motivates you and inspires you to do more. And the reason for that is part of that inspiration comes from fear itself. So fear is a big motivator. So, if you grow up as a poor person, you're afraid you're going to be poor all your life. And you don't want to do that. So you work harder, you go to school, you hang around the right people. My mother taught me the 3 greatest lessons of all time. My mother said, who you spend time with is who you become. The people you hang around form a zone by which you become whatever you become. If you hang around a bunch of people who are failures, it's perhaps more likely you might become a failure. But if you hang around a bunch of people who have initiative, have intelligence, are going somewhere, making something of their life, you just might catch that bug and move in that direction. And then she said, what you choose is what you get. So you and I, Olga, are responsible for our successes or failures. How is that? Because we made choices. We made choices to behave in certain ways. And the irony is our behaviors are based on our beliefs. Our beliefs lead to our behaviors lead to our results. So if I want to do better in life, I don't just behave better. I must realign my beliefs. And the way you realign your beliefs is to have coaches in your life. People are listening to us today who might get some coaching in their own life, right? And the third thing my mother said is, by the way, she said the circumstances in which you find yourself today do not define where you end up. They only define where you start. So there's hope for all of us. And then the third thing is how you change. Not if you change, not when you change, not where you change, but how you change will determine how you succeed. And think with me, Olga, the truth is most people resist change. Most people don't like change, right? For the timid, change is frightening. For the comfortable, change is threatening. But for the confident, change is opportunity. And the question is, where does confidence come from? It doesn't come from positive thinking. It comes from competence. When you are competent, first, you have the right to be confident. And second, you can perform at a higher level. And
Absolutely. Your mother also said that take advice from the experts. Don't take it
yes,
from anybody
yes,
because experts are really competent.
you
And
have
this,
done your homework. Absolutely. And she said that because, in fact, you remind me of that. Thank you. Because she said the experts have their knowledge in order. Have their knowledge in order. Just like the letters of the alphabet, they have to be in order. Just the numbers have to be in order. It's not 5, 3, 7, 9. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So experts have done it and they know the pathway. But Olga, change, people resist change. However, people welcome progress. There is hope for all of us. So if you show someone how they can achieve progress in life, they are then willing to change and adapt and improve.
Doctor, tell me please, say yes, we have to change. And I think in COVID times, there is no chance to choose. Will we choose to change or we have to? There is no chance. But for example, for women, women are people. The women, by the way, are also people. Anyway, women, they like stability. It's just
Yeah.
by their nature, they want to protect their home, they want to protect their kids, they want to protect. And it's not in our blood to change. Maybe for men it's easier to get married more often. Women, they like stable thing, and the change is almost not in our blood. You mean that we need to change it, or how?
Well, no, I don't mean, I'm not talking about change in fundamental values. That's what you're talking about. I meant change in how we develop our intelligence, change in how we look at opportunities, change in how we relate to people, change in how we place in our mind good things. So garbage in, negative stuff in, negative stuff stays. It's not garbage in, garbage out. It stays and it multiplies. So unless you change your perception of yourself, for example, then you'll never be able to move up to the next idea or the next direction. And I know that in certain systems, in certain cultures, in certain countries, it's harder to make choices, right? There's governmental rules and so on. However, we are always built from the inside out. So it would be an excuse to say, I can't do it because the external factors pressure me. Yes, I get that. However, we have to be dedicated to change from within. So even if we don't have the world giving us the opportunities that we want or that we deserve, we have to constantly improve ourselves from within. So someone listening to this podcast.
Doctor, do you mean that coaches, you said you cannot move on without coaches. Do you believe that even successful people should have coaches?
You're saying choices? Is that what you said?
No, coach.
Oh, coach. Yeah, coaching. Yeah. Everybody needs coaches. Everybody. And it doesn't matter who you are, the president of a country, the president of a large company, or the most Olympic athlete. They all need coaches. If you learned a new idea every second of every minute of every hour of every day, it would take you 3 million years to occupy the space in your brain. Imagine that. So we as people are using this much of our potential. And what coaches do, they stretch our capacity. So what we want people who can inform us, involve us, inspire us, inspect what we do, improve how we do it, and increase our capacity. Make us more capable of doing more things and doing more things better. That can only come through coaching. And coaching comes from people like you teaching others how to do what they do. It also comes from listening, viewing, reading, and thinking. I wake up every morning at 3 o'clock. Between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, I study. I learn. I take 15, 20 minutes to be quiet and just get in the zone and ask myself questions. Who am I? Why am I? And how can I become better? And what that does, it leads to happiness. So happiness is the byproduct of fulfillment. And fulfillment is the byproduct of excellence. And excellence is the byproduct of work that is purposeful and meaningful. And work that's purposeful is the byproduct of being educated or learned or experienced or skilled, right? And that is the byproduct of desire. I must want it, therefore I learn it, therefore I do it, therefore I improve it. And so just remember this, Olga, there are no such things as unrealistic dreams. There are only unrealistic timelines. So I tell every person, it doesn't matter where you live, who you are, what your circumstances are. There is a way to get better. Yes, there is. And it might take you longer. You might not have all the resources you need, but there is a way to become better. And as long as...
Tell me, please, if your schedule is that much congested, if you wake up 3 o'clock, from 3 to 6, you are studying. Out of this 3 hours, 20 minutes, you sit in meditation, or as you say, you're finding the zone. Are you yourself giving coaching sessions for people, or you don't have time for that?
Well, I used to have a lot of people I coached. Many of them were professional speakers and consultants. And many of them were presidents or chief executive officers of companies. So I was mostly in the corporate arena. Today, I don't have much time to do that. So what I do today is I may work with a CEO of a large corporation where I'm developing for them, an entire program. But I don't have the opportunity to just talk with people one-on-one or something like that. But over the years, I've written many books, recorded many CDs and DVDs and so on.
You wrote 12 books, yes?
18 over the years.
Oh, 18. Oh my God. You're writing
a lot of books behind me here. I actually wrote, and they were translated in many languages. But then I became president of my alma mater at Hyper University and built 108 buildings here in the last dozen years and took the campus from 91 acres to 500 and from 1,400 students to 6,000, and from 3 academic schools to 10. So this is an incredible example of what can happen when you are focused on the right things, when you learn the right ideas, when you move in the right direction, and when you execute. So there are 4 steps, Olga, there are 4 steps. First one is you must have a clear vision. Absent a clear vision, you really can't accomplish much in life. You'll be just going all over the place. Number 1 is clear vision. Number 2 is solid strategy. Where am I? Where do I want to go? How do I get there? Number 3 is practical systems. So trying to just have pie in the sky, just dream wildly, is not where it's at. You have to have practical systems. What are these practical systems that can get me from this point to this point? And then number 4, consistent execution. And the only way you can achieve those 4 points is to render value and to interpret your value and to remove the irritants out of the system and to add wow to the experience. This is not complicated. And yet most people fail or don't achieve their goals because they mess up one of these points. And so if you mess up one of these points, it's like a recipe for bread or cookies or something that's incomplete. Right, it's like a jigsaw.
So you personally, you said this for vision, strategy, practical systems, and consistency.
Consistent execution, yes.
Consistent execution. For you personally, I will tell you also what is for me. Among these 4, what is the most challenging and complicating point?
Clear vision, clear vision. Most people, you can learn how to set a strategy. You can learn even through trial and error, what's practical or what's not. You can learn how to be go-getter, make it happen every day. But most people struggle to tell you what is it they really want. And so whatever someone tells you is typically not the right answer. It's an answer up here, and you have to dig deep to figure out who they are. Think of what a therapist or psychiatrist does. When you say, I'm not happy, I'm depressed, what do? They try to get down to the reasons of that, get clarity in what you're saying. Someone says, I want to be successful. What does that mean? To a business person, it might mean becoming a multimillionaire. But to a school teacher, it may mean doing good work in the classroom.
Yeah,
So,
and to a billiarder become a multimillionaire is disaster. And a lot of people in Russia, they commit suicide because they say if you don't have a billiard, you're a loser. And the school
ah,
teacher he will never understand.
yes,
Shuhada, what's the meaning of all this stuff? Because for them
yes,
it's completely nonsense, you know? I
yes.
understand what is that. I want to ask you one question. This is incredible what you did, and I like very much that you have a solid system. I will memorize it, I will put it on my wall because I want to
Okay.
know since you did it. Uh, what I want to ask now about your age. You start doing all these speeches from 1974. It sounds like a miracle. How now you manage to look that young and strong? What is that? What you eating or Red Bull or
No,
this?
no, no.
What is
I
the
talk to
secret?
I talk to people like Olga, who's positive and dynamic and happy and moves forward in life. Look, Olga, I think that the thing that drives, there's things you and I can't control. There's DNA. Some people are born with, certain things that cause certain ailments. And although science is getting better and people can live longer, but I do think that if you have a purpose for living, if you understand your why, um, and if you pursue it with all the strength and energy that you have, you can make things happen. If, on the other hand, you are one of those people who laments every day what you don't have, most people focus on what they don't have. We should focus on what we do have. And because we can take what we have and multiply it, what we don't have just depresses us. So I am a happy person. I hang around happy people. I'm very clear about my why, why I do what I do. And as a result, forgive my modesty, I became very successful, and people wanted to be around me, right? Because they're catching the spirit of all of that. But I get up in the morning saying, let's go get them. Let's make something happen. And I drive everybody. I have 2,000 employees here. I drive my employees to excellence. So I say, choose to be extraordinary. Don't choose to be average. Average gets us nowhere. We must be extraordinary people, right? We were created to be extraordinary. In spite of all the things that stand in the way, we can be extraordinary. We can make something happen in our life.
But these 2,000 employees, they're not jealous of you. They will not say, all the money and all the fame goes to Dr. Qubein. And I'm a small guy who is just a cleaner or just a small teacher. How you spread this happiness and remove the egoistic things?
Yes, and the answer is you don't focus on that. You don't focus on that. You're not talking to people about that. The second answer is you're always trying to help the other person do better. And by improving their mindset, improving their lot. So young people who work with me and in time they learn and become better and they grow up the ladder of success and so on. They love that, right? Because they've achieved more things in their own life. Becomes pretty good. People want to work with you if you're helping them achieve what they want out of life. And they're willing to work hard to make that happen. Now, in America, we have a lot of opportunities that makes it somewhat easier. But those opportunities are also balanced with people taking things for granted. Because I grew up somewhere else, I understand the opportunity is much better. There are a lot of Americans who are just constantly complaining about what is because they've never experienced something less than. In America today, we have a tough time finding people who want to work. So labor shortages are tremendous. They're just so high. And as a result, you can't, I have probably 150 open positions on this campus because
Maybe I should go to you, Dr. Qubein. I'm so excited. I'm so motivated by you. I think your energy is contagious, very inspirational. Maybe one day you can come to make a speech in Dubai, because I think it's a place that is growing. Country is only 50 years old, but they're showing incredible example from sending the person to the space, first time in the history of Arabic cultures and also united the nations, because I believe whatever we are doing to united the languages, unite the cultures, unite the countries, unite the people is incredible. And I think whatever, especially in the time of COVID, when everything become separated, people even separated by the injections they're doing.
Yeah.
They are, it's in a way, it's incredible. If you did Chinese or American, you become injection, you become enemies. So it's
Yes.
incredible. That's why I think our aim as educators, my main job, I'm director and producer of the movies. I produced 25 films about Olympic champions, about women in Abu Dhabi police, about is it easy or difficult to be wife number one, two, three, four, different topics. Some of them were shown in Cannes film festivals, in winners of Moscow film festivals. Anyway, it's education. You are a great educator because you took your, I think our aim is to connect. My last question to you: how to survive in the time of uncertainty? Before it was easy, it was certain, you do so and you become so and
Yeah.
so. Now we don't know, ma'arif, shu badain, mafi shi, and you become very depressed because there is no mafi natija abadan. You cannot see what will happen, because even if I do this, maybe tomorrow there will be lockdown, maybe something happen. And that's why a lot of people just lose motivation to do anything. How to
Yeah.
escape this?
Okay. So number one, uncertainty is not forever. Uncertainty typically comes and goes, right? Uncertainty should be temporary. The pandemic is not forever. Recessions are not forever. War is not forever. Um, you have to look at life with faith and with courage. And if you put the two together, you have faithful courage. And it takes faithful courage to get out of bed in the morning and to take a risk and to pursue life. And so uncertainty is married to risk management. So think about what risk management is. Risk. If you take risk out of life, you take opportunity out of life. Few things in life are very, very clear and risk free. And if they were that way, everybody would be after them. Therefore, the opportunity would be gone. So you want to pursue the uncertainties is always okay. You have to say, in the midst of all of this, how do I find the light to follow? Where do I find the opportunity? And sometimes when things are difficult, politically, economically, and so on, that is the time to learn more, become stronger, so that when the opportunities begins to take off, you are ready to go for it. In America, I've experienced half a dozen recessions, and everybody around me would go crazy and get scared and give up. And I would say, this is the time. This is the time to prepare yourself and to go forward. And I was always right. When people, remember, you only have this much energy, right? Most people talk about time management. That's a foolish thing, because there are only 24 hours in the day. I don't care who you are. What we ought to be focused on is energy management, not time management. Because even if you have 24 hours a day, you cannot work 24 hours. Even though there are 7 days in every week, you cannot work 24 hours, 7 days a week. You would die. And so what you ought to be doing is prioritizing where you want to put your energy. And in times of uncertainty, you have to say, which of the things that are here now I can control? And how can I feed that and encourage that? And which of the things I cannot control, and I don't need to be putting all my energy there because, the risk is too high. Maybe I should tell you my formula for risk management. This is very helpful. So
Please.
I tell business people, when you take a risk, ask yourself these three questions. What is the best thing that can happen as a result of taking this risk? What is the most likely thing to happen as a result of taking this risk? What is the worst thing that can happen as a result of taking this risk? And then here's the way you make a decision. If the most likely thing to happen will get you closer to your goals, and if you are willing to deal with the worst thing that can happen, I go for it. But if the most likely thing to happen doesn't get me closer to my goals, why am I even thinking about it? And if I'm not willing to deal with the worst thing that can happen, why am I pursuing it? Right? I'm just bringing misery into my life. So some people have capacity for risk that's this big, and some people have capacity that's this big. And you have to know where your capacity is. I am not an optimist. I am a paranoid optimist, which means I really look at things much more carefully than most people look at them. So if you say to me, this is a bottle of water, I'm not going to take that at face value. I say, are you sure it's a bottle of water? Is this fresh water? I may not ask you the questions, but I'll be thinking them in a much more meaningful way. And so I will arrive at better conclusions, and I minimize my risk by so doing. But occasionally I've taken risks in areas that for most people looked uncertain, unsure, maybe dangerous. But typically I would have information that can back me up to make that happen. Or it's in an area that if I lose, it's not the end of the world.
I will say that your mom is very right. She's definitely a great person because she raised an optimist who somehow managed bring the best thing from one world. I believe that people who merge the cultures, they are the most talented. And you have this elegancy of the East, when but directing and positivity and intelligence of the West. And to put it all together in one human being is it's not an easy thing. I would like really, Doctor, to wish good luck for your university. I think these 6,000 students are very happy to have you as a support, because it's really very interesting to study from a person who can support, cheer up, and show good example. It's interesting. And, when you see some president on TV, it's very far away. But to see somebody in the campus, in the university,
Yeah.
it's really a big support. And why not? Maybe one day you will come to Dubai or to Kazakhstan. It will be my honor, and I will organize a very nice visit. Hidden Hero is waiting for you.
Okay. Thank you, Olga. It's a
Thank you.
pleasure meeting you, and I hope to meet you in person someday.
Yes, it will be a pleasure. And also with your assistant.